What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Jess Takes a Village. I'm your host, Jesse.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jesse, and welcome to the Jess Takes a Village podcast, where we focus on regular people who have used their education, whether it be formal, vocational, or even life experiences, to propel their lives in a positive direction. In person, huh?
What's
Does it
up?
feel different?
Yes.
I mean, because you always watch. So, ladies and gentlemen, to my left, we have one of the greatest teachers in New York City history,
Wow.
coming straight out of Staten Island.
It's a bold statement.
From Brooklyn College, let's go Bulldogs. Ladies and gentlemen, to my left, I have one of the most creative teachers in New York City. Why the creativity? Tom has figured out a way to combine both music with teaching. Tom creates very, very matriculated and intense raps in order for kids to have a natural flow throughout their day. But not just with the music, Tom is also a very stand-up individual. He's won Father of the Year for the last 4 years. Ladies and gentlemen, to my left, Tom Santiago. Clap it up for yourself. Clap it up for yourself. Me and Tom go back. Grad school, Brooklyn College.
Yeah, 2020.
2020, we're in the same math cohort. But I don't want to start there per se. I want to start at why teaching? Why teaching? Because I also want to tell you some of the things I noticed about you while we were in grad school. But why teaching as a career?
Have the summer off. No, that's a joke I always say, but I always gravitated to working with younger people, especially as a kid.
Right.
I always loved hanging with my cousins. I was kind of in the middle. I had older cousins and younger cousins, and I always just wanted to engage with younger people than me. I started out as a camp counselor.
Okay.
Me and my brother and my two buddies and a friend, his mom had a camp, a small camp, not a lot of people. We were the four main counselors, and we had a lot of fun working with kids from 3 to 10 at that age, and I was only 15 at the time. And then I went to start and do swim lessons because I had cousins who did that, and my brother did that, and my brother became a teacher, and it just something just clicked. Like you could just be up there and trying to make an impact on the youth. So
absolutely, you see all of the I always say, all of the real teachers who are actually doing the job because they care. There's a different level of love for the next generation coming up, right?
Yeah.
It's a level of impact. Now, imagine this. At 15, you're working as a camp counselor, right? Then you're doing the swimming lessons. One thing that you've mentioned so far is my brother, my friend, his mom. So there's a sense of community there. Yeah. There's a sense of what we call here the village here. Now, what made you want to work at 15?
At first, it was just like a summer thing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't fully start working until I was 17. I played football, so I was always in the weight room in the summers.
Okay.
I was dedicated to that, and being with the camaraderie of the guys and talking about everything and life, and just being with the boys was always fun. But after I became a senior and football ended, that's when it was like, all right, I got nothing to do at the school. I gotta make some money. I gotta start, getting getting some fun so I can go and get what I want, eat what I want, buy what I want.
Absolutely. That's such a reality for so many athletes, because it's like, what do? I mean, obviously, if you're exceptional, then you continue to play the sport when you're on a collegiate level and you hope to go pro. But for so many athletes, when they wake up and they realize, well, maybe this ain't something I could take all the way. It's like, what am I going to do next? What's my next step?
Yeah, I mean, I had that dream of being in the NFL, obviously. I
Absolutely.
tell my students, and they crack on me. They're like, you ain't going to be in the NFL, man. I'm just like, it was my dream. Like, that's what I wanted. And then, I always tell them you got to have a backup plan. Like, you want to play sports, but you may not have the ability. You may not have the drive So if you love sports and you could do something that's in sports, but maybe not being on the field, that's where you become a doctor, a trainer.
I mean,
You
true.
know,
I mean, I do
support
see
staff.
that, but I'm one of those. I don't believe in Plan Bs. Oh, no pun intended. But I don't believe in the Plan Bs honestly because I feel like if this is really your goal,
Yeah,
pour your eggs in the basket and go.
yeah.
That's me. Now, someone else may say, yeah, but what if you fail? What if
Hmm.
things don't happen?
Hmm.
And my ignorant logic is, what if it does?
Yeah,
What if it actually does turn into something? Now, there's a window period,
yeah,
as I tell people, in which you should have time to accomplish this goal.
yeah.
But there's also been miracle
I
stories,
mean,
you
there's
know?
like a cynical, negative, pessimistic world out there where it's like,
Yeah,
and you tell adults or older people like this is what I want to do, or anybody, and they look at you like you're crazy. But I guess it wasn't like, I guess it's just letting them know like that there are other things that you can do, and yeah, you want to lock in on being that thing,
right.
but you also want to do other things on the way. You want to be able to do other types of jobs or take what you can get. Like when I was trying to get um, certified to teach, I kept failing one of the tests. You got to
Which
take
test were you
the
failing?
educating all students
EAS.
because I'm a gen ed teacher. I wasn't going for sped. And when they give you the EAS, you really have to lock in on special education. So that was like not really my strength at the
Yeah, I passed
time.
that test with the safety net.
I failed it 4 times.
Sheesh.
And then I took a practice test.
Yeah,
And then like I was like, I should have did this in the beginning. I should have took the practice because then I had a better idea.
yeah.
Whatever. In the meantime, because it takes a month to process, it took me 5 months. In the meantime, I was working still at the swim school.
Right?
My other friend got me a job at the the store Pink. You know,
Yeah, I
yeah.
know the
So I
stuff,
was
Pink.
I was back there replenishing clothes and stuff.
Okay.
That was my first retail job, and I was
Sheesh.
like, I don't want to work retail
Retail
because it's
is
very stressful. Like
retail is tough work,
you
man.
got shipments, you got this, you got that, and I appreciate him for that opportunity. But you know, I did a bunch of odd jobs. I work physically here and there, helping people move, babysitting, and so it all kind of led to me like just learning how to figure it out when you fail.
Yeah.
When it doesn't work out because you have a plan, and sometimes life is just like, nah, yo,
Yeah, not today.
not today.
But I think you've become very resourceful
Yeah,
over the years
yeah,
through life experiences because it's like if you didn't have that experience, you wouldn't necessarily know how to move with rejection. You
yeah.
wouldn't necessarily know how to like adapt on the fly.
I think that's one of the hardest things. Like in your 20s, now I'm 34, and there were so many times where I was like living with regret or like mad at myself for a
Okay.
mistake or this choice and that choice. And like I think I finally realized like all these choices, all these setbacks, all these issues or whatever, it's just defining who you are, making you more resilient. And like you can't live in that timeline because you don't have this is the only timeline you got. This is not the Marvel movies. Like you know, you can't jump around. You just gotta live with what you have and you know take each day. Obviously, you're planning ahead. I know what I got to do next week, but I know right now I'm here and I'm
In the
present.
moment,
Yeah.
present in the moment. How do you deal with, I guess, let's say you've obviously we all make bad decisions, right? But what's like your thought process? Like you make the bad decision. Now, how do you like, I guess, go about coping with this bad decision? Because you mentioned you were living with the regrets,
At
right?
times, yeah.
What was that doing to you, like mentally?
Yeah, it was a mental game, and you know, different mentors or people I looked up to growing up.
Right?
Sometimes you get a mentor that is not your cup of tea, literally, and
Mm-hmm.
and then sometimes it's kind of like filtering out the information and like with social media now you have all this information coming at you like you should do this, you should do that, this is good for your health, this is good for that. I think it's like you said, finding the right resource that works for you, because I'm not motivated the way others are. Some people need to get a fire lit under them, whereas if you're trying to light a fire under me, I get oppositional. Like, who are you talking to? I know you're trying to motivate. I had teachers like that and trying to motivate me by like putting me down.
Mm.
Whereas like me and my son are like, nah, we need like more positive motivation. Like,
So you need like and I'm just saying it. You need more of like a reward system.
yeah, rewards and a little TLC, like, you know, little different point of view. The mental game was hard though because now I'm a mentor and I work with fifth grade boys and connecting them and stuff. And, you know, everyone's different. And I have spiraled in negativity. I've spiraled in thoughts. I've coped in poor ways, so to speak. And it's just like learning how to navigate each mistake and
Yeah.
understanding that, like, okay, maybe I was at fault in this situation, or maybe it was just another factor that was out of my control.
And I
I
think
think
that's fair. I
what
think
it
that's
comes
fair for
down
you
to
to
is
say.
like letting go of control of that. Like, this is just how things happen sometimes. You
I'll
know?
share something. Me, I wouldn't say like I'm a control freak. I wouldn't say that. But I feel like my space is my space, right? How I command my space is how
Yeah.
I command. Now, we notice as teachers in the classroom, you have your room in a certain way,
Hmm.
right? You know which kids are which kids,
Hmm.
right? You know who's who and what's what. You know what really like upsets me? When the cluster teachers come in and they mess up the flow of the classroom. You know when you have your room at a certain temperature,
Yeah.
in terms the kids are chilling, you're relaxed, everybody's doing their work. There are kids talking, but who cares, right?
You want
Kids talk.
a quiet room is not
Yeah,
always the
it's
best
not.
room.
It's not. But you know the temperature, like kids are laughing, they're
Yeah.
doing their work. You know, you tell them, hey, make sure that work is done. Got you, Jesse. I got you. Like we almost, like we good. Like we almost done. Take your time.
Yeah.
And the cluster teacher comes in the room. Okay, everybody, let's get. No, that would make me flip out. And how I've learned to cope with that is to just get up and just get out the
Get out of
room
the
quick.
room. Yeah.
But I haven't always had the best coping mechanisms,
Okay.
as you mentioned. And this is kind of like why it hit home for me because I had to learn better coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
You know, after a long day at work, I was at happy hour
Yeah.
saying some real mean things, but that's how I was getting it off.
Yeah.
But it wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
So now I go to happy hour and I keep my mouth shut now, you know? And
Well,
that's
you
how
got to figure out who you can trust. And I can
I was
say,
going by myself.
oh, you're just going
Yeah,
by
so hey,
yourself.
you know? But
Yeah.
you do have to figure out, and it goes back into the community aspect that you were mentioning before.
Yeah.
How you go about these things plays a big part into your natural adult development. Because if you can't handle these things now or develop small coping mechanisms,
Yeah.
when you get older, you're a grade A crash out. Like grade A, you know? And
Yeah.
I am also very thankful that you're open enough to share.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people they'll be more like recluse, they'll like embarrassed,
No,
you know. But I'm
I
I'm
have
just saying for the
failed.
record, like I'm
I
thankful, like
always
the world knows.
I always do the Michael Jordan quote, like, you know, I don't have it perfectly down, but he's missed
Yeah,
3,000 shot. He had 26 game winners that he missed. You know, it's like finding the resource, finding the quotes, finding the people. It really comes down to that, like that village that you are built, that you already have, and that you're showing.
yeah,
Like, everyone comes from a different walk of life, but uh, at any job, you got to find someone that's like your rock, so to speak, your person
yeah.
that, like, they got your back no matter what. That, like, you can go and be like, yo, this pissed me off today, and then you know that that's between you and that person. You
It,
know,
it it is, and this is why
any job you need somebody.
any job because I feel like at certain jobs you have these people who are like your family, right?
Yeah.
They're even, you know, the term they used to have in like the 90s, early 2000s, you had like your work wife,
Oh
your
yeah.
work husband, your work brother, your work sister, you know?
Yeah.
Because it was like,
Still use it.
yeah, but you don't really have any blood relation
Yeah.
to these people, but these people are at times closer to you.
My godparents are both people my mom worked with. Both my godmothers are still in my life,
Literally.
and they work together.
Wow.
So I get it. It's
That yeah.
yeah.
I could already I already know where this is going because it's like that's like beautiful and it's
You're stuck with
wholesome
each other all day, yo.
all
You got to
day
deal with the kids. You got to
long.
deal with admin. You got to deal with parents. You have so many. Be a teacher because you get that salary. You get that ability to be creative, to talk to the youth, to make an impact.
Sometimes you get the
But there's
ability
just
to
a
be
lot of
creative.
things. I say you have too many bosses. You got your boss, and then they have a boss. And you got your principal, your AP, and then you have your students are all your kind of like your bosses because you got to help manage them, and then now obviously you're in charge. You are the boss, but you have to constantly
Yeah,
work
yeah.
with them.
I tell my kids I work for them.
Yeah,
I'm
to
like, you
problem
guys are my
solve and
boss,
everything.
you know?
Yeah,
Let me ask you this.
but
If you could spill, what are some things you do in your classroom differently that you know most teachers don't?
uh, well, there's certain things. So in my school, we have a non-negotiable morning meeting and a non-negotiable closing circle. So every day we have to have it's a protocol. So
Yeah.
you have a greeting, or you just like, hey, say what's up, say como estás in Spanish, like teaching them different languages, some fist bump, elbow. Then we do a share, which is just a question like from like, what's your favorite color to like, where's your family from, or what I like doing food a lot because that
Yeah.
connects us.
Mm-hmm.
What do you eat at home, or what's your favorite dessert? And then we do a activity where I try to get them moving, and then we do a morning message where I give them a quote, where like that's where that like life quote comes in, where it's like, today's topic is about patience. Here's a quote about
Yeah.
how to wait for something to happen. So that's one thing we do every
I
day.
like that. I really do. I like that a
Yeah,
lot.
non-negotiable from my admin, and it works because it takes that 15 minutes in the morning to get the kids in to eat, to talk, to make some sort of connection, to get to know each other because you're stuck with each other for 10 months whether you like it or not. Like it or not. The closing circle is like we literally sit in the community circle and we just like we come up with a game, or sometimes it's just like, yo, what did we do good today? What do we not do so great, and what can we work on for tomorrow?
That's deep.
Or it's like, what are you doing this weekend? Like Friday, I'm like, what are you doing this weekend? You know? So those are two things that I have to do from admin. But personally, the two things that I do is a brain break, getting them up and moving. Literally just use YouTube. Would you rather? Would you rather exercise?
Yeah.
You pick it, and then the video comes up. That's 5-6 minutes. Get the brain moving. And then the other thing is the mindfulness. So after lunch, recess, after gym, they're high energy, they're hyped. This one's upset about that. This one wants to tell me about this and that. We do mindfulness, whether it's like breathing, practicing breathing, grounding, or there's so many things just that you can do to get them to just bring their energy down, because sometimes they gotta wake up and sometimes they need to chill out. So
See what I said? One of the greatest teachers in New York City. Um, I do like that a lot. Two comments I have. I tried that food thing once, right, in the classroom.
yeah.
So what kind of food do you guys eat? It was like, what kind of food do you eat? I'm like turtle, iguana, monkey arms. So mind you, this is supposed to be an all-inclusive,
Yeah.
happy. So you're disgusting. Who eats that?
Oh
And I'm just
yeah.
like, this is how you guys
You
feel
gotta hit
about
them
me?
with the "don't yuck my
Now,
yum."
now, obviously, I'm not eating that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have ate turtle and iguana. I'm not eating monkey arms. But
You're ridiculous.
it's just so funny because you get such real life responses in a
Yeah.
classroom. And another thing too that I wanted to hone on is the importance of these meetings, right?
Yeah.
The importance of gathering. It goes back to the community
Mm-hmm.
aspect again. If you're a teacher in a classroom, you kind of have to always promote the community aspect. This is how you get to learn who's who
Mm-hmm.
and what's what in the classroom. Now, I tell my dad, who's a plumber, we always have this long debate who has a harder job?
Mm.
And I always tell him, my job is 10 times harder than yours. And he goes, how? And I goes, because you deal with one client
Yeah.
at a time.
Yeah.
Me, there are 24 different clients at the
If you're lucky,
same
man. Some of them
time.
got 30.
Yo, some do have 30, and
I'm
my heart
lucky I
goes
get
out
like
to them.
20. But
You know, and that's a blessing. You know, one of the things I do in my classroom is I have like a food rule.
what?
A food rule.
Food rule, okay.
Yeah. Anything that's on the table is accessible for everyone. So let's say I go to the store, I got like a big kidney table.
Okay.
I go to the store, I get like some Oreos, the white
Oh,
Oreos.
okay.
I put it on the table. You don't gotta ask, just come up, take whatever.
Okay.
One time, I bought some pizza. So I came, I ate one slice, had some garlic knots. I was like, all right, I'm gonna just finish the other slice. So I got the slice down on the table. I went to another table to talk to a kid. I come back. I see like one of the kids walking to the table. I'm like, what you doing? She looks at me. She was like, Jesse, it's on the table.
Oh.
One piece ripped. Then comes another kid. Another piece
Oh,
ripped.
man.
Another piece ripped. Another piece ripped. It was like, this is the class rules. These are the rules.
Yeah,
You
they
said
got
if
that
it's on the
loophole, the
table,
loophole.
and I wasn't even mad. I watched my pizza get like
Oh
ripped to
my
shreds,
God.
but I wasn't mad. But it all builds,
Yeah.
you know, the community in the classroom. So you've gone through the odd jobs, you've gone through the counseling, the swimming lessons, the playing sports, failing, succeeding,
Mhm.
failing, succeeding. Now you're a teacher. What's that like for you on a day-to-day basis? How do you prepare yourself to go to work?
Yeah. Uh, you gotta leave the job there as much as you can. Like I've worked with many teachers,
Yeah.
about to be year 9, so I'm excited.
Oh, tell them what grade you teach, by the way.
I teach 4th grade, primarily math and ELA, but we do science and social studies embedded into the ELA program, and big social emotional learning. It's one of our main things to get
Mm-hmm.
kids to, work on their, what am I, just basic. Why am I feeling? I feel mad. Why? I feel sad. Why? I feel basic stuff like that. Um, but to answer the question of being ready to be working and every day, it's just routine. You know, stick to your routine. Stick to what makes you happy outside of work. You know, you're always gonna have something that you have to do every single day,
Every
and every
day.
day is a new thing. Like, hey, we have a deadline next week. We have so you kind of, once you get into it, you have an idea of like, I know like the first month requires, XYZ with testing and community building. I know that I have to have this ready for November. So I guess like getting into the groove of that, but just like I said, keeping the routine every morning. I try to keep the same routine with me, my kids, making sure I'm out the door at the right time. I get there early so I can take that. Whether it's five, sometimes I'm there 5 minutes before, sometimes I'm there 30 minutes before. But I give myself between 5 and 30 minutes to just get in the room. I get my morning meeting set up, like I talked about, making sure that's on the board.
Right.
And then like every Monday I write. I I have 2 notebooks. I got a notebook for myself, for my to mentally dump whatever's up there for clarity, and then I have a notebook for school where it's just school, and I write a lot. So that notebook, on Monday, I write my checklist for the week. This is what's due this week. This is what I got to print. I got to make copies of this. I got to email this one about that. So that sets me up for the week. So I am a teacher that works week to week. Some teachers are planned 2, 3 weeks ahead. I respect that. You got time for that. You got that type of mentality. Nah, I'm ready for Monday and Tuesday. I kind of know what's happening Wednesday. And then I'm
Yeah.
ready Wednesday, Thursday. And then Friday is usually like, we got to clean up this. We got to edit that. We got to revisit this. So
You hear how hard the job is, people? Do you hear how hard the job is?
we earn our summers. We earn that time.
We do it. We also didn't ask for all of these vacations.
No,
Let's just put that out there first.
we got to respect all the cultures of New York City.
Absolutely. And New York City
Yeah,
says, don't work this day.
yeah, yeah. We have to respect the cultures and the religions of our community. This is a big big. It's the biggest school system in the world
Yeah, it's just a
in
melting pot.
America. So,
Yeah. I would say
but
that one of the beautiful things about getting ready for work is you're there for something purposeful.
yeah,
Like for me, I listen to some real gritty, intense rap music in the morning. Like I need to
depends on the
because
day. Yeah,
no, I'm talking about every day
every
because
day you
when I
get
go in,
hyped.
I gotta get hyped because once I like get like pumped up, then I could just
You
unwind.
got like
Like
Travis Scott going.
nah, worse than that. But
Worse than
yeah, but you know, I always mention to the fact that how you approach your work determines whether or not you're going to be successful, whether it is for the day, the hour, 15 minutes, or the week.
hmm
You have to be so intentional with these things, especially because our jobs are actually molding the minds of the future.
Yeah,
Not to sound so, but this is what we're there for. And I always say, as teachers, we have to be. I tell the kids, I'm your mom, I'm your dad, your brother, your
your
sister,
uncle.
your auntie, your uncle,
Yeah,
everything, because that's just how the day goes.
yeah, it's hard.
Now, one thing that I've realized about you, even from grad school, and we shared a lot of classes together, the way you think is very different than how the average person thinks.
Then that's one of my issues because sometimes I'm like, why don't they see it from my perspective? And then I have to like really lock in and be like, yo, they don't see those details that you see, but they might see something that I always tell that to the kids too. I'm like, someone in this room knows something that you don't know. And like, it's a very basic statement, but it kind of gives them a little bit of confidence to be like, oh yeah, I kind of know
Exactly.
about this
Yeah.
content that they don't.
I
So
don't feel inadequate.
yeah,
It gives them that. It does give them that sense
but
of confidence. But were you someone who always thought the way you did? Because some people see this cup on the table, for example.
half full, half
Yeah,
empty.
you could see, oh, well, Jesse's using a white mug and he's drinking tea, and this string is hanging from the back. Why does he still have the string in there? How come he didn't add honey? Like, have you always been like that type?
Like
Like those people who see like the details beyond the details?
I guess I mean sometimes I would see things and make myself crazy. Back to that control thing of
Yeah.
like, I need something done a certain way, and being a teacher like is like a wake up call to like just because this works doesn't mean it works for someone else. And you don't have to be. I struggle with like internal jealousy sometimes of like I wish I was like that person, whereas I change it into, oh, I could take that from that person and use it to my advantage.
Hear that?
So like all these
Yeah.
videos you're making, all these people, like you don't have to take their advice, but you could hear it and then apply it, or you could just forget about it. Like it's not.
Did you? I'm,
That's the
I'm trying to
hardest thing.
remember. Did you take that class with Karen Fogler?
I don't remember that
That was
name.
like the how to teach mathematics intro class.
I don't think so. I think I was already because I was no, I don't think so.
Okay, so in this class, right, a bunch of us, me, Chantel, um, Alyssa, a bunch of us took this class to
Yeah.
start. So Karen Fogler, she's no longer at Brooklyn College, but she taught us like how to teach math and basically what a classroom would look like. So she has this egg carton, right? And she has these eggs spread out in the carton.
Mm.
So simple activity, count the eggs. But she wants us to act like, like we're literally in a room. So somebody's counting the eggs, whatever. And she goes, no two kids in the classroom will count the eggs the same way. So I raised my hand. I'm like, it's foolish. She goes, why is that foolish? I'm like, who counts eggs like this? You know? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or if you're good at math, 2, 4,
Yeah,
6,
yeah.
8, 10, 12, or you automatically know it's
See,
gonna have 12 in it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
She goes, but that's the beautiful thing about the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Based on what you know, if you have a pre-knowledge of it, or you've been like I wouldn't call it predisposition, but if you've been made aware of it already,
Yeah.
or you go with your mom to the supermarket,
Yeah.
you automatically know, okay, that's 12. you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or if one line of the carton is going at 6.
Yeah.
And that, to me, as simple as it is, it's set out that no two minds in a classroom will ever be the same,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
I think, yeah, it's like, and that's the thing with math, because math has always been my strong suit. uh, I found like solace in like procedures and rules, and 5 is 5 no matter what. 5 dogs, 5 cats, whatever it
Yeah,
is, 5 is 5. You can't lie. Numbers don't lie. Like, especially that's why I love sports so much, because there's the consistency and this and that, but uh, that's a big thing that sometimes teachers miss out on. Is like every kid, you you teach them these strategies of how to add, subtract, for basic life skills,
right?
but there has to come a point where it's like they call it inventive strategies, where like
Yes.
I taught you to break apart and multiply the 2 digit. 25 times 2 is 20 times 2 and 5 times 2. I showed you that, but you could also just add 25 and 25. So it's like that's where the creativity comes in, where you have to let the kids figure it out on their own. Like, you give them all these tools, all these skills, all these strategies, ways of solving, but at the end of the day, they got to do it on their own.
And that's,
But then,
and I'm sorry to cut you, but
no, you're
that
good.
to me is what teaching is about.
Yeah,
You cannot walk them to the water and then teach them, oh, this is how you swim. No, you gotta walk them with the skills already.
yeah.
You gotta ask them if they
Call it the
ready.
toolbox.
Yeah,
Teacher
and then the
toolbox.
teacher and
Or the kid toolbox
yeah,
too.
you gotta just like make sure they get in. But it's so funny because with math in the same way, I taught my kids how to recognize math codes. Meaning, let's say I'm multiplying 2008, right? Times 83.
I'm not doing that.
And no, but you don't have to,
Yeah.
because in the last line of the number sequence, there is an 8 on top and there is a 3. And anytime you're multiplying and there's an 8 on top of a 3, the bottom number will always be a 4. Always. No matter
It's
what.
24, yeah.
Exactly, but the 4 will always be placed first. So
Yeah.
I teach them,
The
if you're ever
algorithm,
taking
yeah.
a test, right, and you just want to figure out how to eliminate answers
Yeah.
automatically, if none of those final answers, right,
Yeah, yeah.
if there is no 4 at the end, that's not what it is.
That's the deductive reasoning and
Yes,
stuff.
deductive
That's
reasoning
some
101. So from the
that's some
time you
math
see
classes
that,
we took.
yeah, from the time you see
Yeah.
that, if that 4 is not in A and it's not going to be in D, cross out, cross
You just
out.
lost half the people that,
Yeah.
that don't like math, though.
No, but I'm
But
just
that's the
saying,
problem, because then they become adults and they don't want to do the math because it's
they don't want to do the math, but that reasoning alone, I just eased off some stress.
the calculator is obviously there
Yeah,
too, but yeah, you want to show them that there are different ways to do things, and then that becomes applicable to life, which I tell them all the time. Like, I'm teaching you this solve method. You
exactly.
study the problem, you organize the information, you line up your plan, you verify your plan, and then you examine your work. That is a skill for life.
Talk
Whether you're
about it.
tying your shoes, whether you're cooking a meal, even just pouring a bowl of cereal. Like, some people put the milk in first and then
No,
the
no, no.
cereal.
You're never supposed to
You're
do
a
that.
psycho if you do that. No,
Yeah, you are.
But it's just you're still gonna eat the cereal, and as long
Let me
But
ask you a question. When you brush your teeth, what's the order of how you set up?
toothbrush, water, toothpaste, and then do the
Or you don't do water again?
maybe a little bit, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine. I know people who like raw dog.
Just dry.
Like, I'm talking toothbrush, toothpaste, game time. You're a psychopath, But aside from that, I know personally that because of the way you think,
Yeah.
because of the way you move in life, you're a very creative person too. And as I mentioned, no, you're not trying, you are creative. But as I mentioned in the beginning, you found a unique way to combine music and teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, what the guests will see as they're watching this interview is the 2-minute clip of a song that you actually created for your son
Yeah.
to get him up and active in the morning Because, well, I'm not gonna take that away from you. You
Yeah,
explain to the viewers watching what got you to
yeah.
create that song.
So I'm a father of three. My son is approaching fifth grade, and he's having a little bit of a tough year
Okay.
socially, uh, not academically. I'm very blessed that he's very intelligent and has.
His father and his mother are both smart.
my,
Let's
my
just
wife's
go
a
there.
teacher also, and
Yeah.
he's just it got to a point where as a parent with your kids, one of the hardest things is getting them up and transitioning them for the day, and I felt like I couldn't get to him because it was just like he didn't want to do the routine of like, all right, bathroom, brush,
Right.
get dressed. All right, now time to eat. All right, now you get a little time to watch TV till the bus comes.
Yeah.
Now you gotta put your shoes on, time to get out the door. Take your vitamins. There's a line about vitamins, but
Yeah.
because it helps him, and so my wife and I were struggling where some days she's triggered because he's not moving fast enough. I'm triggered because he's skipping a step.
Yeah.
Where it's like, and I tell him like, everything I'm teaching you is so that when you get older and you got that job, you're still gonna have to do the same thing.
Same exact things.
Alarm's gonna go off, and you got to get ready.
It's the routine.
And his hair will be messy, and I'll try to do his hair, and he's like, "Leave my hair alone." And I'm like, "Yo, I want you to look handsome. I want you to look good." Like, people see that as self-respect.
You look good, you feel good.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. And there's a line to that. And some days I wouldn't do that, so I made that song. I was just like scrolling through some lo-fi beats. That's another thing, to use music in the classroom. Like I'll play jazz or like something calm while they're doing writing. And so that one of
induce that,
yeah. So that beat came up, and something just like sometimes a beat will come up, and then the song will just like a lyric will hit me, and then that's when the song gets started. I don't like search for beats. It just kind of happens naturally. Um, I haven't been, you're gassing up my music. I appreciate it. This year is the year I'm really going to push my music more in the classroom. I've always had this sort of stage fright with the kids. This year, one of my boys, he's like, "You don't got bars, Mr. Santiago." I'm like, "Oh yeah, you don't got bars."
That's
He
it.
challenged me.
There's always a kid that challenges.
My
you.
co-teacher was incredible. She brought in a speaker the next day with a like one of those karaoke mics. I bought one for my kids too, because I want them to perform as they get older.
Absolutely.
And
you got busy.
At the end of the day, I hit him with 2 tracks that were, one is a mentor track, is on my YouTube, and then another one is another track about keeping life simple. And the kids, we were in the closing circle, everyone's sitting in the circle, and I dropped those 2 songs, and some of them were just like,
yeah, kids,
some of them were enjoying it, some of them were like, I think because I did that, they like saw a different light in me, because I would say like I like to write music, I was rapping. The last thing I'll say is one of my girls, she's like, "Oh, you cooked."
That's it.
She's like, "And you ate." I was like, "What is?" And that was the first time I heard like you ate. I'm like, "Is that new?" She's like, "Yeah, you ate." I'm like, "Okay, write that down."
Yeah.
That's the thing too with teaching.
And I know you felt good.
Yeah.
Whenever you get a compliment from a kid,
yeah.
It's like
I say I got a fan. I just got another fan.
That's it, and it sticks out for them. And then when they become older, and they'll see you down the line, I remember him from the music. Have you always been a musically inclined person?
Yeah, I was always like, back when you had CDs,
yeah,
and the MP3 players.
Absolutely.
I would just like read lyrics all the time.
What's some of your favorite rappers?
Oh man, I don't have a particular order. Do you want me to go old school, new school?
It's whatever you want. Put it into like 5.
Oh man, that's hard. No particular order. Right now, in this moment.
In this moment, go ahead. Right now.
Kendrick, J. Cole, Mac Miller, Tyler. I mean,
Kendrick, J. Cole, Mac Miller, Tyler.
Chance's new album is incredible.
Yeah.
Jid's new album is incredible.
Okay.
The Clips' new album is incredible. So right now, those people are in my mind right now.
Okay.
Like those just for hip hop alone, those last albums were incredible. Like
Okay, so here's what I would say.
for right now, that's what my mind's about. Clips, Jid, Tyler. Right now.
The Clips album was good. Very, very strong intro. Because I couldn't imagine finding my parents, deceased in the house.
That was a
Yeah,
huge story.
yeah,
That's another thing. Storytellers are what get me.
good.
That's why I got the Kendrick and Cole.
Yeah, because I
type.
think for
Mac.
Kendrick, I think Good Kid, Mad City was one of the best projects of work I've ever come across. I never forget because it wasn't the songs. The songs are great on that album,
Yeah,
but the skits in between that connected, that told the
that's how
story.
you know someone's like a
Yeah,
true like hip hop
historian,
because
lyricist.
the
Yeah,
skits were what made the album so funny and
it
like
was.
with Biggie and Eminem, like those skits, you still remember them. You crack up
You do.
thinking about them.
And I think Mac Miller obviously went too soon. You
Yeah,
know, Jid, very talented.
he's incredible.
And you mentioned someone else. Who else you mentioned?
Tyler,
Tyler. Let me tell
the
you.
Chromacopia album.
I think what was the album with Lumberjack on it? It's gonna come. It's
I'm
gonna
not too
come.
great with his.
It's gonna come across to me, but that album, I think he had
Yeah.
won a Grammy for. That album was actually pretty good too.
Yeah, so like Tyler took a while to grow on me, and I'm gonna say this to you, and that was kind of happened with you.
Yeah,
When I first met you, man, we were in that class, and I was in a different mindset. My wife was pregnant.
yeah,
We were in person.
yeah,
I was all I could think about is like my wife's pregnant. I'm about to have a baby. Oh wait, did I have the baby? No, I had the baby that August.
yeah,
All I could think about is like I'm gonna be in school twice a week, and I'm not gonna spend time with her.
yeah.
And now all I want to do is get out of that classroom. And here comes Jesse. Time's almost up, and she's like, "Any questions?" And you would have like 2, 3 questions, maybe 4, and like I think it was like it annoyed me. It annoyed me
That's perfectly
because
fine.
it was my mindset, and it also like you know how when someone triggers you, it's
Yeah.
because like it's sometimes it's like a part of you that you don't like about yourself,
Okay.
or it's sometimes that you want to be like that.
Okay.
I think part of me was just annoyed because I wanted to go home.
That's fine.
But the other part of me was like, I respect his ability to like. At that point, I was like, if I'm not comfortable with the professor or the teacher, I'm not really gonna, I'm not really gonna raise my hand.
Yeah,
You
I get
know.
it.
And the fact that you didn't care and you were just like,
I
"What?
was
I'm here."
honest to God
You're like,
confused.
"I'm here to learn," but I also have a question that needs to be answered.
Yeah.
So I was just like in a different mindset. And then COVID hit. We ended up going remote. And then after that, I was just like, oh, this is just who he is. He's just an
Yeah.
outgoing person who
Very.
wants to learn. And then I started like realizing like I feel like an idiot right now, you know.
No, I mean, listen, like I
But I
always
told
say,
you
yeah,
that
you
like
did,
later
but
on.
it's never. I
But
always tell
yeah,
people whenever you meet people,
yeah,
depending on the day and what you're going through, you're always gonna perceive them a little
yeah,
bit differently than when you actually sit down and you get to know them. This is one of the normal parts about human
yeah,
interactions that people actually stay away from, because I've all throughout life
yeah.
I've had one girl when I used to go to LIU. She was like I hated you. Like I'm like, why? She goes, just like the way you walk, like you're always smiling and you always staying and I'm just like, listen, I told her, I was like, I
Some
get it.
yeah.
I get it. You
Some
know?
people don't like that. It's more. I think it's more of an insecure thing that like, how can this person be so happy and so
Yeah,
chill and so outgoing when life is happening and it's cynical and dark sometimes,
it
and you
is.
have like internal struggles, and then there's everything happening out there
Right.
that you don't see, and then social media. So,
I was fighting, and let me tell you, man, those times I was fighting battles. You wanna know why? I was fighting battles because I had just got into grad school,
yeah,
right? I had an American Express card and probably had like 5,000 on it. And I tried to apply for a loan,
hmm
and they told me before I could get rolled over into the cohort in 2020, I had to take 2 classes.
yeah.
Now, because I didn't have any education credits, being a psych major, I had to take these 2 classes. I was unmatriculated.
Okay.
So the rates when you're unmatriculated
Mhm.
is very different from when you go as a degree student.
Okay.
That was the last time I ever seen that American Express card.
Yeah.
I cleared out that card.
Yeah.
I'm subbing. I need to get all A's, right? I've never gotten more than 2
Like
A's
you got to get your
in a
GPA
semester.
up.
Yeah. I've never gotten more than 1 A in a semester, my whole college lifestyle.
Wow.
I come back to Brooklyn College. Now I have to perform. And one of the craziest parts about that whole journey of college is, I don't know if you remember John Basias. Let me tell you who John Basias is. Remember we took that one special education course? This was in person just before it shut down.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a special education course together.
Oh, the woman.
The woman.
She had to go.
Yes.
We went to remote. She couldn't do it.
She left.
And then we had
And then we got John Basias.
Yeah, that guy.
Why is John Basias so influential in my life?
I don't remember his name, but I remember.
Yes, the guy with the badass handwriting.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what John Basias did? He gave me a B-. A long streak of A's. When I finally started taking education seriously, A. Here comes John Basias with a B-. And he only taught the class not even for that long.
Yeah, but it was very much like it was a remote class.
Yes.
Before we knew what remote classes meant.
Absolutely.
So it was like very like the last woman was like very chill. Like remember I had the slideshow open?
Absolutely.
She's like, you can't have a slideshow open while taking the test. I'm like, you said it was open book.
Yeah.
Then this guy is like, nah, this is regimented. You got to post. You got to do this. Yeah.
So John Basias, and I'll never forget. Like throughout the whole cohort, I'm just thinking, but you know who's always a parent? You always there.
Yeah.
Kevin was always there.
Yeah.
Chantel was always there. Chelsea was always there. Saf always there. Megan. All of these, all of these things that was in our cohort. And then May 2022. We get to see everybody, hug everybody, and we got to graduate together.
We didn't get to meet at all until that.
Exactly. Yeah. Until like 2 years later. And fast forward 3 years from there, here we are.
Yeah.
Right? On the podcast, both good in our careers, shooting the shits. Now, with this being the Just Takes a Village podcast, we tend to focus on the members of our village that kept us going. And it never has to be like a whole complete list, but who are the people that said, yo, you know what, Tom? We got you. We're not going to let you dwindle away. We're going to make sure you finish school. We're going to make sure you maintain this job. Who are those people for you?
I was very blessed to have, like you, both of your parents still together. They still fight, but they ride or dies. So I was still living at home that whole time. So they supported me, while I had my loans and everything. I was able to like keep my salary and not really have to spend too much with bills and stuff, which is huge. I got to give them credit for that. My older brother, who was like my mentor, becoming a teacher, and just he was there when I needed him. He kind of just was like, go do your thing. Like, you're finally an adult. You finally have your own job. I don't got to babysit. I don't got to babysit you as much as I used to. Like, he was very protective, but also like he'd be like, stop screwing up. Like you're messing up for no reason. You can do this on your own. So those three were my rocks. My best friend, who I went to college with, another guy, just always there and just like telling, like whenever I needed something, I was like, he'd be like, you're fine. Like stop overthinking it.
Good.
And then I went to Brooklyn. So I started out as a para teacher assistant. Built some relationships there, but never anything that like really stuck. And then when I went to Brooklyn, I met my wife, and well, she wasn't my wife at the time, obviously. But we became friends, and her and another teacher, so Nikki and Ebony. Ebony was like another person. We started out together. I just saw her Saturday. So she was two people that like we would always talk about what was happening. We would vent, and those are my people in the building. Like I said, you got to have people in the building you trust. So in the job, those are my two friends. And then eventually me and my wife started hitting it off. And dating, and
Oh, you used to work with your wife?
yeah, that's how we met.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, you know.
You just broke the handbook. I'll play with you
I
again.
mean, we were professional about it. We kept it
Yeah,
cold and quiet for a long time, and then people started figuring out, like,
yeah,
one of the students in her class. She told this story, but I went in there to, we would exchange food. She caught me with the food because she could
yeah.
cook. The quickest way to a guy's heart is through his stomach.
That's a fact.
So I went in there to bring her something, and when I left, the student said to her, "Why you always smile when Mr. Santiago comes
Got
in?"
him.
And then, like, her mom was part of the building, so, like, people start talking, and
Well, your
then
in-laws is in the building
no,
too?
no, the student's mother was part of the
Oh,
building,
okay,
and
okay. Yeah, got it.
she was like telling her mom about it, and whatever. Uh, Luckily, once people started realizing we were dating, she got a job somewhere else, and I was still at the school.
Okay.
So she was my person, and then someone who worked there, shout out Leela, she was there with me there. I also had another mentor who told me it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So she taught me to
Absolutely.
be honest with that. Because
Yeah.
I would crash out and start saying what's on my mind and not in a nice way. And Principal Martin now, she said, you can say things honestly without being rude. So I digress, but now I work with Leela, who's at that building, another person who supported me, and now me and her are on the teacher team. So
Good.
we moved together to,
Full
like, I
circle
moved to
moment.
Staten Island and she moved. So yeah, I mean, my friends at home, I had friends who weren't really supporting me the way I needed them to. Uh, so that's where you find it at work. Like, they were just party friends, just go and chill, don't really care about your problems, you know. And then yeah, I mean, those are the main people I think of right now.
And listen, these are the people that they'll last a lifetime with you.
Yeah,
You
ride or
know,
dies.
and it's man, I tell you, where we be without that level of support? It's
Yeah,
that support is what carries you through.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
one of the things you don't realize growing up is, like, there are some people you really don't need.
yeah,
Like, they're just, at one point you thought highly of them, and there was something good there, but then sometimes a relationship runs its course, and then it's like, I get why you drifted apart, but maybe I'm forcing this friendship when I shouldn't. Maybe it's a one-way street type thing. And then there's people like you who are, like, not expecting that, like, that me and you would still be chill
yeah,
after that first day where I was like, yo, let me let me get out of here.
yeah.
And
Hey,
I,
listen, it happens. You
yeah,
never know. You never know who's gonna have a permanent place in your life and who's gonna be there. For a couple weeks in a year.
yeah,
But the level of human interaction, I always say, when you go through things with someone, that's what determines the grit.
yeah.
Like kind of like when we went through that pre-thesis class, right? And nobody got the grades that they thought they were gonna get.
Yeah,
Because we were all active. And then when a bunch of us got C's, and then that one or two people got A's, we were all like, what the hell is going on here, right? But
I don't
that's
even remember that, yo.
yeah, that's
When you
that's
have 3 kids, your brain gets, like, mush.
that's
You start
neither
forgetting stuff that you don't want to remember.
believe me. Because at that point, like I always mentioned, like in a couple episodes, like I was ready to quit. I
Yeah.
was like ready to quit. I thought it was over because they always stressed in grad school you can't get a seat. You cannot get a seat. And I
Mm,
was ready to crash. I was ready to
wow.
crash out. And it was Chantel who was like, yo, come on. And I'm like, nah. She goes, yo, let's just go to the library. Let's just knock out this thesis
Yeah.
page by page, chapter by chapter. So I said,
Yeah.
okay, fine. But I was ready to crash, like
Yeah.
fully. I was like, you know what? I'll go work in a charter school.
Nah, you don't
I
want to do
hate charter schools.
that.
But
Depends on the charter. Some charters are solid,
I hate
but it's
charter
not the
schools.
same. It's not the same support.
It's not, and I hate the uniforms too. But that's just
Yeah.
me. That's just a personal thing.
Yeah.
But
That's where the kids can be creative with what they wear and own their
absolutely, and
personality.
express themselves.
You know.
Now, away from the teaching,
Yeah.
I also know that you won Father of the Year for the last couple of years. How has fatherhood changed your outlook on life?
Uh, yeah. I mean, you don't have you have a natural alarm clock. every day, so you don't get to choose when you wake up, especially during the summer. Shout out to the parents dealing with their kids, parenting their kids this summer, because it's very challenging. Because you want to sleep late, but my middle, she is a 6:30 merchant.
Sheesh.
5:45 to 6:30, she's up.
Mm-hmm.
I got her to sleep till 7 today. That's a win. So, I say this to people, they just humble me. They keep me on my toes. They've taught me not on purpose, they've taught me how to handle my emotions because they copy you. So you start doing what, you unfortunately make these mistakes and you feel like I scarred them, but you also have to realize like they have to see human emotion, and as long as you repair and review and go over and discuss, and we have a lot of conversations with them.
Reflecting.
Yeah, like a lot of kids, a lot of people our age, and a lot of people older than us, their parents didn't apologize to them.
Some of us have never heard apologies.
No, it's true, and
it's me. I'm some of us. But yeah,
don't.
yeah.
I'm not trying to come after people's parents.
No. It's the truth though. So that generation, they don't know sorry,
and that's okay. I mean, but how many of their parents apologize to them? So I think it's just about perspective, and when you become a parent, you say I'm not going to do what my parents did, but
you end up turning in it.
My mother-in-law said, "You take what your parents did that was good, and then you make your own style."
Yeah. You make
take what they did great. We had to sit at the table together and eat because that's the only time we have together. Especially when everyone's at school working, how are we gonna still bond? So I don't do it every night because it's sometimes too much. My wife and I agree, like maybe 3 times a week, 4 times a week. That's something my parents did good.
Wholesome.
So it's I also say like they didn't have as much resources. We got social media, and there's a lot of content that you can absorb. And with my education page, Santiago of the Schools, that's a tool that I use to promote my teaching and
absolutely
my love for working with kids in life. But if I'm scrolling, all the content that's there is teaching me to be a better parent,
absolutely,
and better educator. And it's hard because you see this information and you're like, I'm going to use this tomorrow. I'm going to apply this. And then you don't because life happens. So,
yep. I think that's a good key factor when the life does happen.
Yeah. And back to that village, like I have cousins and friends who are parents, and, maybe just making sure you check on each other, like how your kids, like how mine gave me a run for my money today, or you don't want to always talk about the bad things that happen. Sometimes you want to gas them up. Like, yo, my son's crushing in Taekwondo. My daughter's a great dancer. My youngest knows to put her socks in the hamper. And I didn't even teach her that. She just picked it up.
Yeah.
So
that's really, I like the point you said earlier about emotions, about how, they copy the emotions, and it, like when you had mentioned, they taught me how to regulate my emotions because they're always watching. It just took me back to that video on Instagram. It's a little kid, maybe 2-3 years old. She was like, "Who am I?" She goes, "What's my name?" She was like, "Mommy." And she was like, "What's daddy's name?" "Alex." And I'm just like,
because the mom was
the mom always, and I'm great. Just like, wow.
Yeah.
You never know who's paying attention.
Yeah, it's like your classroom too. Like I model picking up someone's pencil, picking up someone's trash, like I can't expect them to clean the room if I don't clean the room.
Absolutely.
I went through, every year I go through like 2 or 3 sharpeners. Now, this year, I learned I got one pencil monitor. He sharpens the pencils in the morning and he sharpens the pencils at the end of the day. I can't have every kid using this sharpener, but I also teach them how to use the sharpener. Modeling is everything. And unfortunately, when you're a parent, they model everything you do, good or bad.
You're right. You're right.
Good or bad.
You're right.
You know?
I just think back to like two kids in my class. They wanted to like sharpen a pencil at the same time. So like, no, let me sharpen. Like, no. And they both got like the pencils in their
Bro,
hand. And I'm like, this is not right, cuz
teach your
both of y'all
problems.
go sit down. Y'all are not gonna do this to each other, not here.
Yeah,
But
it's little things.
I also know that aside from, the music, you also, and the Santiago the Schools page, you also mentioned My Brother's Keeper,
Yeah.
the MBK. So if you would like to, share with the
Uh,
viewers what that is.
yeah, so it's a New York City initiative, My Brother's Keeper program. It's a mentor program where adult males in the building um, basically they nominate kids to be part of the group.
Right?
The children, they have the decision if they would like to or not join the group. And my group meets once a week in that circle type atmosphere. It's called transformative tables, where it's like you just sit and each meeting is about a topic, and then you facilitate the topic. So forgiveness, let's say. All right, name a time you've forgiven someone or someone has forgiven you or you forgave yourself, blah blah blah. And we meet with the group, but then in my district, District 31 is very good at organizing full meetings with all the schools. So once a month we get together and the mentors and their students go to one of the buildings that can accommodate us, and they have keynote speakers. Uh, they have people who kind of like this who have used their education to become, who they are. We have the guy that owns the franchise, the Chick-fil-A franchise at Staten Island Mall. He came through. He brought us Chick-fil-A.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice, nice.
he promoted Chick-fil-A and also talked about his journey. So yeah, it's just a great program. It's just getting kids to network so that when you go to middle school, I can join MBK and now I got a group of people because it's hard being a kid as it is. It's also hard to be a boy when you grow up in this, like you said on the last podcast, this mentality that you can't talk and you can't share
Yeah,
and
you gotta be tough.
you
You
gotta be
gotta
tough.
be rough.
Nah, yo, you could cry. I tell my kids all the time, you could cry.
Also, give the disclaimer because somebody who's listening is gonna say, "But what about girls? It's tough for girls too."
No, I'm not
And we
saying
understand that,
I'm
but the point
in
that
the
he's
realm of my
making,
brother's keeper is
absolutely,
it's to help. It used to be for at-risk boys, but now
yes,
it's like whoever wants to be part of this
it's a male
can
initiative.
yeah. There are some boys that really just need an adult to talk to or just to listen to. There's a cap on my group, so I can only have a certain amount. There's some boys I wish were part of it that needed it, but you
Yeah,
know,
a lot of boys need
yeah,
they need fathers. And because a lot
yeah,
of the fathers aren't there for whatever miscellaneous reasons,
yeah,
they need a positive male role model.
hmm
I always say there are certain things like we can't help little girls become the women of their dreams. We can't.
no, because
We
we
can
don't have
help.
that.
Yeah, we don't have that connection.
Yeah,
As much as we want to
we can only
little,
do so much. Yeah,
exactly. Little
yeah,
girls need a positive woman influence in their
yeah.
life. Little boys need a positive male influence in
I
their
don't know if my
lives.
numbers are
They
correct,
do.
but I think 1 in 4 boys grow up without a father figure.
1 in 4.
Like, fact check me, but I'm pretty sure that's yeah,
It's tough,
it's
and
scary.
depending on the neighborhood, the environment, what part
hmm
of the road they are, is like those numbers are probably higher. It's a lot of facets go into that situation.
Yeah,
There are a lot of inner dealings, there are a lot of stipulations. We understand that. But I think one of the best parts about your program is just giving boys an option
yeah,
to just be around other positive males.
hmm
So no matter what's going on at home, through this initiative, you're able to say, hey, this is something I went through. Maybe you went through the same thing, but even if you did,
yeah.
here's some strategies to cope with these
Yeah,
mechanisms. You
so I
understand?
just facilitate, but it's just like you have a voice, and I want to hear what do you want to share today.
Right,
I give them a minute. I put a minute on the clock. What do you tell me something that's going on in your life that you positive, negative, and it's hard. Some of them don't want to share, but
right.
just giving them that platform. Like if they don't have anything to say, I just start questioning them.
Good.
What'd you eat today? Blah blah blah. You got any siblings? Just when someone's like you're interviewing me, like it makes you feel like, wow, someone cares about what I'm thinking,
Absolutely.
and that goes a long way for a young person, for a young kid, you know. And it's
Right.
different when it's not your parent. Because my mom would ask me, "How was your day? How's this? Who's that?" Blah blah, and I'd be like, "Shut up."
Yeah.
No offense, mom. I mean, I'm close to her now, but at that time, at that age, I was just like, "Leave me alone. I don't want to talk about school."
Yeah, you feel like it's an interrogation.
Yeah,
you know. But it goes
was.
back to your point. It goes back to your point where your friend, the principal, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. You know. So I know I asked personally about the music.
Yeah.
If you have anything else, you know, because they're gonna see the 2 minute clip.
Yeah.
But I also know like you rap all the time. You have anything you wanna just, I guess, spit real quick for the fans? I actually enjoy hearing you rap.
I appreciate that.
You know, if you want to, you know, this is like a
Putting me
personal
on the spot,
request.
but
Feel free to tell me no.
I don't want to get with the background sound.
Even if you want to do it a cappella.
You want me to do a cappella?
Yeah, it's up to you.
All right. All right. So this one's called Simple.
Simple.
All right. It could be so simple if you simply stop and think how close to greatness can be. You're on the brink. If you could catch some sense and spray off the stink, you'll finesse away to figure eight on the rink. Cooking something up, put the dishes in the sink. Rinse away an hourglass. Look how fast the hour passed. The problem's probability to throw the dice. Don't think twice, everything will be alright. It could be so simple if you simply stop and think. Pull down the throttle, take control and waddle. Clear the air, pay the fares, hit somewhere, stop and stare, let them thoughts go, move on, restart the show. Replay the reality, you paid your dues to make your move, slow down and find your groove. The planets and the stars align when you read between the lines. They're nearby, creeping in the shadows, lurking into the light. On the positive ions, I am on another level. You must lift the shovel if you want to dig yourself out. Don't just sit and pout, get it off your moat. Refocus your scope and take your best shot. That's the only way. That's what they say. Breathe. It could be so simple if you simply stop and think. Change the frame. Boxing yourself is not the game. You might need a new point of view or a different pair of shoes or perhaps just a moment or two. The only constant is the change. Constant leave, change and stop to rearrange. Something has to give. You gotta get to give and let yourself go. Just let yourself go. It could be so simple if you simply stop and think.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Santiago, thank you for coming on the platform.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, and it's just like that.